The themes this week talk about virtue, and it's very important to understand what virtue is. Virtue is a habitual and firm disposition to do good, to promote love and respect the poor. The virtues that we treat this week, we'll be treating about that, about different examples of virtues, about our own call to be virtuous. Today we talk about simplicity. So the question would be, what is simplicity? What is it? Not only that, but also, how can I be simple? Why should I be simple? These are the basic questions that St. Vincent asks and encourages the priests to treat in homilies. What is this subject? Why should we practice it? And how can we practice it? So this is very Vincentian. Yesterday we talked about the Vincentian family, and the Vincentian family tries to put this into practice. Simplicity. What is it? To do everything for the love of God. Have that one motive in mind. Simplicity. I want to do this for love of God. It might be other things that come in, but the main motive should be doing God's will. And that's St. Vincent's way also. He's always pensive about, what does God want me to do? And since he kept on asking that question, he put into practice many good works serving the poor and bringing people closer to God. All things for the love of God. Saying things simply, not with duplicity, not with other reasons in order to gain something, but to do things for the love of God. What is God calling us to do? God is calling us to be saints. To be saints. How many saints do we have here? How many future saints do we have here? Hopefully everybody raises their hand on that one, no? We're all called to be saints. Christ said, be holy as your heavenly Father is holy. That's for each of us. How can we get holy? By doing God's will, by seeing things through God's eyes, and using our hands and our bodies and our soul in order to fulfill that, in order to bring us closer to God and bring others closer to God. One way we can think about saints is pick out a few. What saints are the ones that cause you more enter into your heartache, you could say, because I'm not like that saint. I should be like that saint. But we're called to be saints. Have you met any saints? How many saints have you met? I've met quite a few. And I think the number is much more than I think. How many saints do we have here? Hopefully, we're all in the process of becoming saints. We have the one program on TV, I don't watch it, but The Walking Dead. I usually don't like the gory stuff and all that. But what happens is that I view something a little different. Walking Dead? No. Walking Saints. The walking saints. Who are they? They might be right next to you. They're probably people in your own family. They're walking saints, those who are living out their Christian life in a saintly way. Do all saints work perfect? No. We know that. Are you perfect? No. Were all the saints perfect? No. We had St. Peter who denied Jesus. but he recuperated. We're in a process of becoming saints, and let us ask the Lord to help us on that. How many saints? I've met quite a few saints in my lifetime. Pope John Paul II, I met several times. Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa always gets me to think and respect her. Many years ago, just going to show my age a little bit, in the 1970s, late 1970s, there was a Eucharistic Congress here in Philadelphia, and I was there for the Eucharistic Congress. Who else was there? Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa. And they had it in a stadium. I don't remember exactly where. That was many years ago. But at one point, I was walking, you know how underneath the seats, you have the place where you walk around. And I was there, and all of a sudden I look on my right side, and I see Mother Teresa walking to me with another sister. And, wow, Mother Teresa, wow. And then I looked out the other side, my other eye, and I noticed Dom Helder Câmara. He was the Bishop of Recife in Brazil. Both Mother Teresa and Helder Câmara were and are saints. They worked for the poor. I was at St. John the Divine in New York City, celebrating Mass at St. John the Divine with some bishops, and Bishop Helder Câmara was going to speak. And there were many priests in the sacristy, and we were lining up and everything else. And we were all set to march out, and all of a sudden we got stopped. The person that was organizing the ceremony said, "Wait a second, where's Bishop Helder Câmara?" And he had to look around, and he was mixed in with all the other priests, not with the bishops. A very simple thing, but it caused me to reflect on humility, simplicity, no? And he, a very important person. Mother Teresa, a very important person. As you notice, I mentioned yesterday that I was working in China. I was teaching English in some of the universities in China. And one time I taught English through movies. I couldn't talk about the Bible, as I couldn't bring in the Bible and all that, but I could get things in sideways, no? So one time I was giving a course on English through movies. One week I gave something on A Beautiful Mind. Maybe some of you have seen it. Very difficult to explain, but I did that for another reason. The following week I gave another movie, Mother Teresa. I gave it as a person who won the Nobel Prize. And as I was explaining it to the students before showing the movie, I said, I met her 2 times. Once in Panama and once in Philadelphia. And they all went, "Really, you met her?" That showed me that they knew about Mother Teresa, even though it wasn't broadcast much in China. No? Mother Teresa had a simpleness about her, very sincere and serving the poor. We're called to be other Mother Teresas in our own life. How can we do that? Mother Teresa went out to the poor, to the sick, to the humble. How many of you have relatives who are sick? You're serving those relatives like Mother Teresa, we should do, like Mother Teresa was serving the poor and the sick in India. And in serving your relatives who are sick, maybe different problems, you are also imitating Mother Teresa, and you are also imitating Jesus in a very simple way, living out your faith and becoming a saint through your contact. Sometimes people are very hard to get along with, but the Lord calls on us to not only get along, but to serve all of them. So as we continue, I would just like to mention, you are called to be saints. You are called to serve others. And sometimes the person that you're called to serve is the one that lives in your own house, or down the block, or in the church, or in a group in the church. The Lord calls on you to serve, simply loving the other person, having that virtue, that habitual disposition to do good and to serve others. May God bless you.